Hey everybody, this is Tony.
And this is Paul, and we are headed out on the road for the Friends for Life podcast world tour. So let's hop in the car and get going. Jessica and Amanda, welcome to the podcast. Unwilling guests. You've been out here by force. So from our understanding, you are both SSAs.
Correct.
And my wife used to be an SSA. This sounds like a very stressful job in these current times. What do you think about that?
Well, I think some days can be and some days are not. Mm-hmm. It really just depends. I mean, it's important to have people that you can reach out to and work through some of those challenging things, and then, have good solid ways to decompress at the end of the day. Mm-hmm.
And then when you have, those stressful days, then, usually you're led up with a day that's super meaningful, that fills your cup up, and it makes all those stressful days worth it.
So we'll start with Jessica. How did you get into the field?
So actually, I have a sister who has profound disabilities. She's about I'd say 7 years older than me, and she was actually my inspiration ever since I was a little girl. We always had people coming in and out of our house, helping my mom and helping my sister live the best life possible, and to include her in all the things that the rest of our family was doing. And so I kind of just grew up with that mentality that I wanted to pay it forward. So that's what I did. I went and got a social work degree, and I was one of the weirdos that actually knew what they wanted to do with their life, and here we are.
I like hearing that. Amanda, what about you?
I got my degree in psychology, and I actually wanted to go to law school. I graduated college, took a year off before going on to get my master's, and started working in a direct care facility, and I just never went back to school. And I graduated in from working direct care, hands-on every day, to more of the coordinating side of things, and the rest is pretty much history.
I had a conversation with someone in Licking County a little while ago. We've been traveling on all the different counties and looking at all the different county boards and stuff. And we kind of came to the realization, like, what we do for a living is just basically almost a companionship type of role, because I do consider myself a DSP first. Throughout my years in the role, I used to bump heads with a lot of SSAs in my early days. I don't see that happening as much because I think we all had a lot of shit we had to go through. But do you ladies still see anything like that? Like, are there these clashes of understanding for the people that we care? Or do you feel like that's kind of letting up and the teamwork is coming back?
I think it just depends on the team. I mean, you do have run into a lot of like old school mentalities, but then, as I've only, been working in the field for about 6 or 7 years, but even then, like, I saw a progression of everybody wanting to get together to, come up with the best ideas for the person. So I think you're right. It's slowly moving towards a more positive direction, and people don't hate us as much.
Yeah, I hear that.
Absolutely.
I think what it always was for me was the documentation part.
Oh, yes.
And it's you guys' responsibility to make sure that agencies are that we're providing the services and we're documenting on them, and then you have tons of paperwork that you have to have filled out just to say, okay, this is what we all agreed on.
Right.
Do you ever think that takes away from the humanity in what we do?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have to document that we documented.
Yeah.
That is one of the biggest things, but unfortunately with the world we live in, you always got to cover your butt, and it's just a part of the job, and you have to find the right balance of, getting that paperwork done, but also being present in the field. And, that would be something that I wish people would, kind of get. It just comes with the job. Like, you just have to. It's something that needs to be done. And like I said, you just have to find the balance.
That would be my favorite part, getting out of the office.
It is my favorite part. It's, it's why I, wouldn't want to take a management or a leadership role, to be honest, because I love being in the field, seeing people achieve their goals, and, just like that fills my cup more than anything.
Well, we've noticed that in this hundreds of episodes we've been currently filming, and we get this running trend of people who either get into this field and they realize it's not for them, and then they kind of are like, see you guys later, or you get people who end up staying for quite a long time. So what keeps you here? At the end of the day, good day, bad day, you know, there's lots of those no matter what your job is, but especially in this field, very emotionally attached to people sometimes, and it can be a difficult thing. So why do you stay around?
I would have to say the people. We work with caseloads from 5.5, all the way through the end of the lifespan. Mm-hmm. And for a lot of those families, by the time the kids are entering middle school, they may have changed SSAs multiple times and told their story to multiple different people. Mm-hmm. And it can be hard. And just to watch those kids grow and learn new skills and discover who they are and realize they're more than just the disability. And unfortunately, some of our people that we work with, that's what they've been told is their disability. That's what defines them. And watching people learn and, like I said, grow and becoming more than what their disability defines them as just can be really rewarding.
You know what? And that is a perfect way to put it. And I think it also even gives us, again, the thought of where we are today. We're in a technology conference in order for people to live more independently. How has that helped with the individuals in your caseloads? Do you have any, just awesome scenarios that were...
Yeah, I have a gentleman that lives alone in his apartment, and without technology, that wouldn't be possible. Mm-hmm. He gets check-ins, remote supports, reminders for his medications, and it gives his parents peace of mind to actually, feel comfortable with letting him live alone in his apartment, because that extra set of, people care about him and are in the background. And I always like to remind people that they are in the background. They're there when you need them. And, without those supports, he would be living at home with his parents, and he doesn't want to. He loves decorating his apartment the way he wants, full of John Deere, and his mom probably wouldn't like that. So it just lets him, be his own person.
Mm-hmm. And that's interesting to me. I think it helped create better relationships with parents and their kids, because as a parent, when you have an aging individual who you care for, it's sometimes tough to realize that person is getting older and they are becoming an adult. Do you feel like that's been a helpful case too in creating better relationships like that?
Absolutely, because in this situation, the parents, they're realists. They understand that they won't be around forever, so they wanted to put supports in place, and so that when they do exit this earth, that their son is taken care of and he is living his own life, and that was their main goal. And I feel like more parents, that's what they're thinking about, is when they're not here, what can we do to make them as independent as possible?
I have found as well that when parents have a child and they find out that child has some sort of disability, their entire life changes, because all of a sudden what they thought might happen may not anymore. And that can be very difficult for people to kind of process and work through. And, technology and different supports allow both individuals to be their own person and do things more independently, but also allow parents to have some of the things that they never thought that they would. And they can see their child grow and see their child become as independent as possible, which is what every parent hopes for their kid. And, technology makes that possible, whereas 10, 20 years ago, that even a few years ago, that may not have been a realistic option for them.
Yeah. You got to search and find the perfect person, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Well, to wrap things up here, do either of you have any advice that you would give to people that maybe think remote supports or a lot of this technology, they're a little scared of it? Because that's a vibe we get with a lot of people, is they're like, I don't know, it's not safe or whatever. Yeah. So what would you say to them?
I'd say that, it's okay to just go check it out. Check it out. Ask the questions. people who are there to help put remote supports in place, they are absolutely there to answer every question you have, give you whatever demonstration you may need, and kind of put some of those fears to ease. Like, people they want to help you, they want you to feel comfortable, and they do understand that your child or loved one is the most important thing, and you want them to be safe, and that's what they want to.
Perfect. Yeah.
Well put.
Well, thank you both so much for coming out here and talking with us, and we appreciate the work that you're doing, because it's not something that everyone does. So,
Yes.
keep up the good work and keep taking care of people and making sure they're living their best lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks.
Thank you.